Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today's video, we're going to look at Chapter 3, Section 3.4, and Louis here, although I don't know how long he's going to stay for, so I figured I would go ahead and get him to say hi to everybody. Just say hi? This is the third video I'm filming, so you're like, I'm done saying hi to these kids, Mom. You say hi? You're getting camera shy now. Maybe later, he says. All right, so today's lesson, we're really going to focus on economic activities in the 13 colonies. We're going to take a bit of a step back from just pure history and look at some geography within the context of history, and specifically look at how the different economic activities and different things available for each of the colonies help to shape their development. So the main idea for this section is that colonies use the abundant resources around them to develop thriving economies in 3 different colonial regions. So when European settlers came to North America, they took advantage of the region's natural resources. Natural resources are divided into 2 categories, living and non-living. The earth provides living resources such as plants, trees, and animals that help food, shelter, and clothe humans. The earth also provides non-living resources such as minerals, water, and soil. Both living and non-living resources provide raw materials or substances used to make products. So those raw materials were really important in the development of the colonies and the economy of the colonies specifically because many of those raw materials were not available in Britain because of either over farming or they just weren't natural to the region. So they weren't able to get them over in Britain or anywhere in Europe, really. So people use natural resources to engage in types of economic activities, which is the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. So, for example, when you go to the store to buy groceries, you are engaging in an economic activity. So think about how natural resources, raw materials, and economic activities might be related. Here is an example of it. Colonists in New England chopped down trees in the region's thick forest for timber or wood used for building. Timber became one of New England's most important raw materials. Shipbuilding then became one of its most important economic activities. So that's how the natural resources of trees are connected to the raw materials of timber and economic activities, shipbuilding. So the natural resources and raw materials available in different regions shaped how the colonies developed. Some natural resources, raw materials, and economic activities were unique to just one region, but some were common among all 3. The American colonies exported raw materials and agricultural products such as timber and tobacco to Europe. In exchange, they imported manufactured goods from Europe. So on these next couple of slides, I'm going to talk through the different types of things that each of the colonies had, the regions had, and you're going to copy what is in kind of that greeny blue your screen into your notes. So the first group were the New England colonies. These are the ones that are farthest north if you look at a map of the 13 colonies. So the 2 that we're looking at here are Massachusetts and Connecticut. Both Massachusetts and Connecticut had short, mild summers with long, cold winters. Massachusetts had mountains, forests, rivers, and poor soil, whereas Connecticut had mountains, rivers, and poor, rocky soil. So similar, but as you can see, a little bit different. Here in raw materials, you see where things kind of start to change. Massachusetts had fish, whales, timber, cattle, and wheat, and Connecticut specialized more in cattle and iron. As far as economic activities, these are things that they were able to produce and export, became famous for. Massachusetts became famous for or built their economy around farming, fishing, shipbuilding, and rum production, whereas Connecticut focused on shipbuilding and rum production. The next area that we're going to look at are the middle colonies. The middle colonies, are New York and Pennsylvania. New York had humid summers with cold, snowy winters, whereas Pennsylvania had mild summers and mild winters. New York was known for physical features of mountains, plains, hills, and rivers, whereas Pennsylvania had mountains, plains with fertile soil and rivers, so they were able to grow more things, which is reflected in their raw materials. New York had furs, timber, cattle, and wheat, whereas Pennsylvania was able to do a little bit more farming and domesticated animal raising with things like flax, wheat, sheep, cattle, and pigs. New York had the economic activities of trade and shipping, shipbuilding, and farming. And Pennsylvania was more known for farming and shipbuilding. And then finally, looking at the southern colonies, the two that we're going to look at are Virginia and North Carolina. So Virginia and North Carolina both had this pretty similar climates. Most of the southern colonies had pretty similar climates, actually. They both had warm, humid weather kind of year round with plentiful rainfall. Their physical features: Virginia had rich soil with rivers and coastal lowlands, while North Carolina had deep forests, rivers, and grasslands. The raw materials that Virginia produced were furs, cattle, pigs, wheat, corn, tobacco, and fish. So remember, any of the southern colonies, because of their plentiful rainfall, warm, humid climates, were able to have those big plantations that lots of things grew, and also had a lot of slaves to work those plantations. North Carolina had the raw materials of indigo, tobacco, furs, timber, pigs, cattle, rice, and corn. As far as economic activities, Virginia had farming, fishing, and rum production, and North Carolina pretty much just focused on farming. All right, guys, to wrap up this section, remember that the raw materials that each colony had or was able to produce shaped the way that they developed. And then each colony was able to export those raw materials and agricultural products to Europe, and then they imported manufactured goods. All right, guys, thank you guys for listening. Go ahead and check back in Canvas to see what your next job is. And Louie and I say bye. Say bye. You go say bye? Bye.